All right, so welcome, ladies. If you are here to become the best version of yourself, you are in the right room. Your inconsistency, self-sabotage, and other cycles that you may have found yourself in are not character flaws. They are just patterns, and the good news, y'all, is that patterns can be healed. Tonight, you are going to finally understand why you felt stuck and what it takes to break free so that you can become the woman that you know that God has called you to be. How many called women do we have in the room tonight? Drop some emojis if you know you are called. If you already know the assignment that God has on your life, go ahead and drop it in the comments or tell me, what you currently do for work or in ministry if you are already operating in your assignment. I want to see who we have in the room tonight. Let's see. She said called. I know that's right. She's got the phone there. Okay, let's see if anybody else. Perfect. All right, so tonight we will learn why you feel stuck in some of the same cycles, what's happening in your mind and emotions, how ADHD pattern overwhelm affects your healing, God's design for renewing your mind, and the steps to become the healed, whole version of you and how to permanently break what I call the pattern lock cycle. And so a little bit about me. I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I have over 10 years in the healthcare field. I am a certified inner healing and identity coach for Christian women. I am the founder of Peace of Mind PLLC, which is the business that brought me to you guys tonight. I also specialize in identity work, emotional healing, and mind renewal. I support women who are experiencing ADHD style patterns like overwhelm, inconsistency, emotional intensity, and just difficulty finishing what they start. And I have a unique perspective because I myself have a diagnosis of ADHD. So a lot of these things I have already overcome through the grace of God. And so my story is I was not always confident or whole. I carried wounds, fears, and repeated patterns that I didn't understand myself. I battled overwhelm, self-sabotage, and oh my goodness, y'all, the emotional spirals with 4 kids, especially while postpartum. But God interrupted my life. He healed me. He taught me how to use my mind, my voice, my identity, and my authority. And now I have the pleasure of helping women to become the healed, whole version of themselves. So tonight's goal is to show you the exact mind and identity framework that I use so that you can begin your journey of becoming who God called you to be today. You will walk away tonight with clarity and understanding of how your brain and soul can play a part in keeping you stuck. So let's talk about why you might feel stuck. Most women are running on old patterns shaped by childhood wounds, rejection, fear of failure, trauma responses, people pleasing, ADHD pattern overwhelm, emotional dysregulation, and just outdated identities. Y'all, we live in a fallen, sinful world, and a lot of people don't realize how our environments, our upbringing, and the people around us can shape our current thoughts and behaviors. So your mind can literally be replaying old code based off of the unhealed and unrenewed version of you. And most women don't recognize that certain patterns and behaviors that align with ADHD symptoms are because women present differently with ADHD symptoms. So it really manifests as overthinking, emotional overwhelm or shutdown, forgetfulness, inconsistency, distractibility, difficulty with routines, feeling just all over the place and in chaos, motivation without the follow through, and then procrastination that feels both mental and spiritual. I know some of you can relate to some of these symptoms. So I want to introduce to you guys something that I like to call the pattern lock cycle. And it shows you the cycle that our minds often get stuck in. So it starts with a trigger. Say something reminds you of past overwhelm. Well, your reticular activating system, which is your brain's built-in filter, highlights this. It makes you tune into it. And then you often get flooded with familiar emotions like anxiety, shame, frustration. Then that leads to an automatic body response because there is a structure in your brain called the amygdala, and it's your brain's alarm system. So that is what puts you into fight or flight or freeze or fawn mode. A lot of people know fight or flight, but they don't know the freeze and fawn response. And most women actually default to the fawn response, which is where they people please, they give in, and they put their needs last. Like I said, it's automatic. Your rational brain hasn't even kicked in yet, and you automatically go into fawn response. Then that leads to a thought loop, like, why can't I get it together? And then that leads to a familiar behavior like procrastination or inconsistency, and then reinforcement. So your brain says, this is who we are. And you literally lock that pattern in as your identity. But this cycle can be interrupted and it can be transformed. This is just one example, guys, but this is true for other patterns like disordered eating, addiction, self-sabotage, etc. Um, and so Romans 12 and 2 tells us, do not conform to worldly patterns, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not a suggestion, it's actually neurological and spiritual strategy. Mind renewal helps you interrupt emotional spirals. It helps you rewire your identity, regulate your emotions, build consistent habits, calm your nervous system, and rebuild confidence. I get so excited about this stuff because I have a background in, neuropsychology. And so just understanding how the brain can keep you stuck is so, it's fascinating to me. So I'll try to slow down. When I get excited, I start talking fast. Um, Thankfully, we serve a merciful God who created our mind with the ability to heal, to change, to rewire, to renew, to release false identities, and to align with His truth. This is good news. It means you are not stuck. It means you are capable of deep transformation through renewal. But here's the problem. It's very hard to do this healing work alone. And God didn't design us to heal alone. You need guidance, you need support, you need accountability, you need a proven framework so that you can be successful without wasting your time. You need spiritual alignment. And you need a safe community because healing grows in the right environment. So I am so happy to be able to offer a solution to you guys that God gave me first to break my own unhealthy cycles in my life. And I like to call it the renewed mind method. So it is a 12-week transformational group coaching program specifically designed for Christian women who are ready to reset their minds, heal emotionally, and step boldly into identity and purpose. This is for women who are tired of repeating the same cycles, ready for emotional and spiritual healing, struggling with overwhelm or inconsistency, ready to stop shrinking and step forward boldly. And if you know that God is calling you to your next level. Inside of the renewed mind method, we retrain your mind and nervous system to feel safe with being seen and being successful. Once your internal world feels safe, the sabotage often stops. So you no longer have to feel the urge to retreat, you just rise. And the structure of the program, so we'll go live as a group starting January the 8th, every Thursday night at 7:30 on Zoom like this. I chose 7:30 just after dinner time to make sure that, the kids will be headed to bed for anybody who's a mom, and it's after work hours. But there will be recorded replays available just in case there's a scheduling conflict, and you will have access to lifetime videos. So the 12 weeks of coaching will be targeted toward identity renewal and inner healing, renew mind method framework, which we'll talk about in a little bit, building ADHD friendly habits, routines, and structure, emotional regulation, and it's a group program. So you'll experience community and sisterhood and continual growth and transformation. My seven pillar method in this program will help you identify emotional roots. It'll actually help you understand your triggers, break mental patterns, heal the negative beliefs that you have about yourself, rewire that identity, strengthen emotional maturity, and then step into the version of yourself that God created you to be. So it is a full identity interruption. We dismantle the beliefs and agreements. We all of the emotional patterns that create sabotage, we actually dismantle as well so you can think and respond and show up for yourself and for your assignment. It is a full reset of your brain, soul, and spirit. So, the first couple of weeks of the program, we start with identity awareness because you cannot become the woman God designed if you don't understand who you are right now. Awareness creates authority. Then we pull up the emotional roots that shape your current reactions and behaviors. The patterns that you have roots. Your reactions are messages. And if we really look closely, your behaviors are clues. And once the root is identified, that's when transformation begins. Next, the renewal starts by rewiring your mind. We will help your mind by breaking thought spirals, interrupt that pattern lock cycle that we talked about, replace fear-based responses, build new belief systems, and teach that reticular activating system a new way to filter. This pattern lock cycle needs to be interrupted, y'all. It is the reason why you say yes when you mean to say no, why you freeze when it's time to take action, why you might abandon your own needs to maintain peace. And it has nothing to do with your discipline. It has everything to do with that automatic feedback loop that is based off your old, unhealed identity. So if you grew up as a child and you felt, let's say, unheard or unseen or unsafe or responsible for other people's emotions, that reticular activating system that filters will actually make you tune in to every moment that resembles that emotional wound. And at the bottom of the slide, it says neuroplasticity. For those who don't know, that is when the brain forms brand new pathways. So when you combine neuroplasticity with the Holy Spirit, that is where true breakthrough happens. And with pillar four, that's when we address mother wounds, we address father wounds, rejection, abandonment, unforgiveness, false identities. Healing is not the scary part. Staying wounded is actually the scary part. Please believe me. Soul wounds and identity lies are the messages that you've internalized from these different wounds that we talked about. So, if you resonate with feeling like you disappoint people or my needs don't matter. I have to keep the peace with everybody. Connecting with others means that I have to people please. If you feel like if you take up space, then you're a problem. If any of those sound familiar, go ahead and drop some emojis or put "that's me" in the comment section. I want you to know that you are not by yourself. This part of the program is where we actually dismantle those lies and replace them with God's truth. In pillar six, we start to build habits from a safe, empowered identity, not from panic, shame, or pressure. At this point, we build realistic routines. We start to work on habits that stick, systems that support consistency, small wins that build confidence, and lifestyle patterns rooted in your healed identity. Y'all, if you have seen a lot of lists thus far in the PowerPoint, that is because I myself, like I said, have ADHD. And so I learned from my own brain that lists bring me structure and calm. So you will begin to learn what works for yourself as well. And then in pillar 7, with all of the work that we've done together, you will finally become her. This is the activation stage where you step into identity, purpose, confidence, emotional stability, authority, and wholeness because she is already inside of you. We are just doing the work to bring her forward. And so, since I've been talking, I want to, put on my coaching hat for just a moment, and if you are in a safe location, I invite you to close your eyes so we can do a little activation activity. So take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just imagine the woman that God sees when he looks at you. She has boundaries. She is emotionally regulated. She honors her needs without guilt. She speaks without shrinking. She leads her home in peace. She shows up consistently, not perfectly, but faithfully. She organizes her life because her soul is organized. She doesn't sabotage opportunities. She is whole. And now open your eyes and just know that that woman is not far from you. She's actually inside of you, waiting for you to break the patterns that have kept you stuck. She is healed, she is confident, she breaks cycles instead of repeating them, and she walks in purpose. And the truth is, you are not becoming a new woman. You are actually returning to the woman that God always intended for you to be before the life and the pain got in the way. Now, I know y'all are like, okay, go ahead and tell me to praise for this transformation. But first, I want to share some cool bonuses that I added. So here's the link to the flash sale that ends this Sunday night, December 14th. It will automatically give you 30% off for the renewed mind method. And for those of you who go ahead and sign up in the next 24 hours, so by this time tomorrow, you will get a free bonus 60-minute one-on-one session with me that can be scheduled at any time throughout the 12-week program. And so here are the payment options. So you have the option of paying in full. So that's $13.47. And of course, Klarna and Afterpay are available. And then you can also pay with a payment plan, which is 6 payments of $247. And I was just thinking as I was talking of this is such a full circle moment. I remember when I signed up for my first group coaching program to invest in myself. It was a $1,500 program to help women overcome imposter syndrome back in 2020 while I was applying to MP schools. And at the time, I was working at the hospital as a nurse and a mother of three. And the coach mentioned, women will find the money to take a flight, they will find the money for a trip, they will find it for their kids. But we get nervous when we start to think about investing in ourselves. And y'all, that really punched me in the gut. It did. But that program changed the trajectory of my life. So if you are feeling nervous, I just say that to say it's completely normal. Pray, and if the Holy Spirit leads you, then sign up. No pressure. And so most people, they don't realize that renewing the mind, which is found in Romans 12:2, and what it calls us to do, it is a learned skill to do that. It is a pattern shift. It is identity restoration. One of my good friends who pastors the church says, it is work, but it is good work. And so that is why this is not just another webinar. This is the beginning of a revolution to give women the tools to launch as arrows confidently into their God-given assignments within the earth. And it starts with your obedience and your yes to God. So my question is, are you ready to become her? And if you are, go ahead and sign up today to join the Renewed Mind Method that starts January the 8th. So I am going to allow you guys to turn your camera on only if you want to. I will switch the layout here so that you guys can see me as well. Make sure that you stay muted and then just drop your questions in the chat if you have any. Let's see if I can change my layout here. Okay. And then video. There we go. Okay. Any questions? I will check the chat and see. And while you guys are thinking of questions, I'll just tell a little story about my own journey personally. So, I have struggled for my entire life with disordered eating, just, coping with food, emotional eating, and not really taking care of myself. And so I had the revelation that I was too full to hear God. Like I wasn't having dreams. I wasn't, hearing God like I thought I should. And it like literally downloaded, like, you are too full to hear God. And so I use the steps in this renewed mind method program to renew my mind about eating and to be able to understand why my brain kept pulling me backward every time I try to reset my eating habits. And so, do you know, as consistent as I have been, that is when God started allowing me to dream again. I started hearing him more clearly. And so it really was true. I was too full to hear God. How can you hear him when you are so full of lies or, negative thoughts, or you have the itis, or, let's be honest, like marijuana or alcohol? How can we hear him if we are not sober minded? And so I use this program first on myself. That's why I know that it works. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys while you guys are getting any questions. You can also email me directly if you think of any questions. So let me just peek in the chat here. Let's see. What is the difference with your program with therapy? Good question. So, as a psych MP, I do therapy, and therapy is often focused on processing painful memories and, processing the past. It's focused on coping. This program is coaching. So, it is literally designed to get you from point A to point B. We're not doing a lot of processing of those memories. We are identifying those painful memories and then replacing them with God's truth and stepping forward to renew ourselves. So it's a little bit different. Therapy is focused on the past, coaching is focused on taking you to your next level. Good question. Any other questions? All right, perfect. Well, I enjoyed this webinar. I really appreciate you guys' time. Like I said, sometimes when I get on a webinar, I can't think of my questions right away. So you can email me at the same email that you got the Zoom information from, and I will respond. And I look forward to getting to know some of you guys in the new year.